did I already do any of the sentencing, or did I just let you guys kind of know that I was leaning towards probation and that we needed to have?
I know it's indicated on January 26th of this year, we appear, we discussed the PSI. There was a disagreement as to the restitution. The court says that it was inclined to place the defendant on a concurrent probation, given the length of time between office date and
Right.
the indictment. Then fast forward to February the 9th of 26, the case was simply just reset for restitution hearing. So it looks like you didn't do
And
anything.
haven't actually sentenced yet.
I don't believe you did, Judge.
Okay, and have you, so, all right, ma'am, you're Janisha Leonard. And Miss Leonard's here in three cases. One is cause number 25 DCCR 0297. That is the new theft of property case, a state jail felony she entered plea of guilty to. And then we have two MTRPs, one in cause number 19-33340, theft of property, and 20-36095, a theft of service.
The last information I have in my files is she was on a straight post-conviction probation. I don't know if she initially was on deferred or not.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, the biggest issue that one of the bigger issues that I had when we were here for sentencing, based just on paper and the appearance of this, I don't disagree with Mr. Coleman's assessment of the case, with the criminal history of Miss Leonard with these types of offenses, and which the criminal history is these three cases. There aren't any other cases. And the new offense date was August of 23. And it's kind of just unknown. It sounds like why that case was delayed in prosecution. Doesn't look like anybody knows. And so the time frame between that and now, and the lack of any other cases while Miss Leonard has been out and on probation during that time and doing well, it looks like otherwise on probation, is what leads me to potentially move forward with continuing the probation potentially on the others and giving her a probation on this one. So there was no agreement on any of these, but it looks like there was an issue with regard to the amount of restitution. So let's go forward with that. Have you guys come to any type of agreement on the restitution?
We are very
We're
far apart.
very far apart, Judge, and I guess one of the issues that we have is I believe Mr. Coleman's got some exhibits that are gonna go back to 2022. I would object to looking at anything outside the range in the indictment. The indictment goes from August 23, we'll get to the exact dates,
Let me get it pulled up as well.
August 24th, 23 to September 4th, 23.
Okay,
I would ask that we remain in that range.
I would think legally that would be probably what I would need to do.
Judge, it's a continuing course of conduct. The theft is, I'll be honest, Mr. Ross just brought that to my attention this morning. I haven't had a chance to research it, but he certainly has had all of the restitution information showing that it's going back to 2022 in that discussion. So it's not an unfair surprise for him to know that we're looking for restitution going back.
Well, but I think the allegations, and obviously I understand the honor about as well as any of you guys, but those are some pretty specific. I mean, that's a very short time frame that is alleged in the indictment. Talking what, 4 days?
Well,
5 days?
yes,
Well, yeah.
from August 24th, 2023 to September 4th.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at an old indictment. I'm sorry, hold on. I was looking at another
About
case.
10 days maybe.
Hold on. So in the new call number. So yeah, this one is August 24th of 2023 through September 4th of 2023. So less than a couple of weeks, a couple of weeks or so is the allegation. And I don't want to have to keep coming back here. But I think to go back, if it was a few weeks off or a month or two off, but if we're talking years of requesting that, then I think that's something that indictment needs to allege. And so we can go forward with that time frame today. I think legally that's where we need to be. She's already pled to it, so I think it's kind of late to amend the indictment. So with regard to the time frame of August 24th through September 4th of 2023, what is the amount between that time frame? Do you guys have that? Okay, we're back on the record. Cause numbers 25 DCCR 0297, 19 33340, and 20 36095. Y'all have an opportunity to kind of go back through the receipts as far as that time frame legally that we can kind of talk about on this case.
Mr. Coleman came up with a number of $2,407. In speaking with Ms. Leonard, her recollection actually is a little bit more than that. She thinks somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000. We had agreed to, or we had offered $3,500. And I think that Ms. Leonard feels comfortable paying back as far as restitution.
So if she agrees that it's between $3,500 and $4,000,
Between 3,000 and 4,000.
3 and 4, I'm more inclined to go on the higher end of that, just based on the nature of the time frame that we're unable legally to look back on. And so I would be inclined to order the 4,000, Mr. Coleman.
Judge, that makes perfect sense. I've spoken with the complainant who is here today, the district
Yes.
manager for Sutherland's. His position is he'd like to be heard by the court. He was thinking that if the defendant was placed on probation, that they'd be getting a lot more in the way of restitution. I explained to him how we arrived at where we are, but he still wants to address the court and quite possibly ask the court to reconsider. If he's not going to get more than what he's getting in the way of restitution, he would want the court to reconsider some type of form of jail time.
Okay, and sir, you can come on up. Good morning, Mr. Powell. Thank you for being patient with us this morning. It was a big morning here. Mr. Powell, would you please raise your right hand? All right, thank you, sir. And Mr. Powell, you kind of heard where we are on this legally. I understand there's a significant amount of restitution that you believe could potentially be owed based on some prior dealings that aren't within the time frame that we're talking about. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm gonna just, if it's okay with everybody, just let Mr. Powell tell me what he needs to. If there's any questions of him after that, I'll gladly let you guys ask questions. But Mr. Powell, you can go ahead if you would like.
I don't have any questions. Tommy explained to me what the restitution would be. We lost a substantial amount of money.
Sure.
And if that's what we're going to be awarded, I would prefer jail time versus the restitution.
Okay, I understand that completely. Anything else that you'd like to say? Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Coleman.
Just really briefly, Mr. Powell, was any of these losses covered by insurance?
No.
What, if any, effect did it have on Sutherland and its practices going forward?
Other than the loss of funds, quite a few effects. We had to change the way our IT department had to change the way some of our transactions are rang, and that they can be rang and returned and voided. Myself, I'm a district manager, so I manage several stores. So it added quite a bit to my duties as far as verifying reports, verifying voids, verifying where transactions are run, and looking at each store transactions daily and talk to the managers to verify why this transaction was run in a certain way and why it was voided. So it adds quite a bit more to my morning. Before I can get started on my store, which is Beaumont, I have to verify the other stores, and I have to go through and do a lot of extra work.
And Mr. Powell, we are cutting this down a lot more than what you and I kind of rehearsed or scripted. Just high level, 30,000 foot level for the judge. We have documents here that will show that this defendant essentially engaged in a scheme of enlisting other people or asking other people, but unbeknownst to them, to void transactions and later on remove money from the register. Am I dumbing it down too much?
No, that's actually correct.
Okay.
That's pretty much how we found it, because it was a set pattern. The way the system works is if you void a transaction, the transaction disappears. So if you void a transaction and take the money out, we don't know because the money's gone, because the transaction's gone. What was happening was a transaction will be rang, the customer pays cash. I reprint the receipt so I know how much to ask for a void for. They would void the transaction, and now I know how much money to take out of the drawer. So what I get in the morning in the past, on my reports, it just says there was a void on, done this day for this amount of money. It doesn't say why or how much or who. Now, and of course, with me trusting my cashiers and my office crew, we have a void and it says that the customer paid with a card and not cash. I assume that that's what happened and I let it go.
We've got 139 pages of documents, and these documents essentially show 68 voided transactions totaling 31,000, no, excuse me, yeah, $31,134.86, going back to July of 2022, correct?
Correct.
State offer states too, Judge.
I would object to any portion outside the date range in the indictment, Judge, but other than that, I don't have any objection to it.
I mean, it's been testified to. I don't think I need those as I'm gonna take it into consideration to the extent that I think appropriate. Obviously, the amount have limited, but the fact that there was potentially more that for some reason wasn't in that indictment, I will take notice of that.
As the witness, Judge.
Thank you. Anything, any questions?
No questions for Mr. Powell, Judge. I know he's been here at every court date. I want to
Yeah.
first apologize to him for having to come here and thank him for being here as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Powell. You can have a seat. I mentioned earlier, and I think I mentioned it really erroneously, that Miss Leonard had been doing well other than the offenses on probation. It looks like there was issues with community service and lack of doing community service. It looks at only 1 hour of community service had been done. As of March 13th of 2024, 20 hours, October 30th of 2025, after being on probation all this time. So it looks like there was some issue with that. Financial compliance, it says, has been poor. Restitution obligations remain unaddressed, and so she still hasn't paid back the restitution that was owed in the first case to Specs and the second case to Cons. Is that correct?
Has she made up any community service hours since
She's
she put it?
done, she's done just 31 overall,
31.
31 hours, yes, ma'am.
All right, well, I'm not real sure that I'm on the same page that I was before, so I'm gonna go ahead and allow new argument based on Mr. Powell's testimony as well as just kind of where we are now. Mr. Rojas?
Yeah, Judge, we asked the court to keep her on probation on the two previous cases and grant probation in this new case. As the court's already said, there was a delay in filing the new case. She has not been a perfect probationer, but certainly doesn't appear that she's had any new offenses. In the meantime, she's had a newborn baby. I believe that was one of the reasons the court let her out on bond when we had the bond hearing. Since we've been to court and since these new cases have been filed, it appears that she's been staying out of trouble. She's at least able to do that. And as to the not being able to pay the restitution, Judge, I think she's wearing her uniform today. She's working at McDonald's, not making a whole lot of money. So restitution is going to be tough for her, no matter how much it is. So we ask the court to consider all that and go along with the court's previous leanings and keeping her on probation and giving her this new opportunity on the new probation case.
Okay, Mr.
I'll be brief, Judge. I think the facts speak for themselves. Judge, I'll just direct the court's attention to page 3 of the PSI, the very first paragraph, where the defendant said, "I let a customer walk out of the store with unpaid merchandise and he paid me instead." Judge, I don't have the words for how that's so understates the 68 voided transactions over over the course of a year or so, Judge, to the tune of $31,000. A theft from Specs, a theft from Cons, and now a theft from Sutherland's. She's a serial employee theft offender, Judge. And I get the court's tendency and leaning to give people second chances and try to recover restitution, but the state's position is, but it always has been, is that this case merits some form of jail time.
And Ms. Core's here today as well. And Ms. Core, do you have anything to add?
It's been sort of slow progress with her. Her just doing the community service hours, just October since 2021. She's been on probation, and she has been making some good faith payments, but she hasn't really addressed the restitution yet.
Have the payments been redirected towards restitution first, or are they still going towards the probation fees?
They're still going towards the probation fees.
Do you have anything to say, Ms. Leonard?
Yes, ma'am. Lot to say, I know we probably don't have that much time, but I'm sorry. I take full accountability for my actions. I wasn't the best person. I didn't really care about things I didn't have. I felt like I didn't have anything to live for. I didn't have nobody, I woke up every day and just went with my day. But I'm a mother now after 3 miscarriages and being told that I'd never be able to. I take care of my child by myself. Her dad's not in her life. The only help I have with her is my mom. And my mom's a single mother of 4 herself. So, like if I'm not at work, my daughter's with me. I do everything by myself. Doctor's visits, cardiologist visits because she has heart murmur, dentist visits, I do everything by myself. I'm not that person anymore, I never believed that I had a reason, but I have a purpose now from what I, believe.
I mean, you don't deserve another chance. I appreciate, obviously the change in your life and how that can be very substantial. But I don't understand, and I don't think Mr. Coleman was a part of, obviously, why there was a delay. That still gives me some pause in the case, is for whatever reason, this sat somewhere in intake or at the agency, we're not sure which, why this case was delayed, and really basically for that reason, and the fact that there has not been any new allegation since October of 2020. Well, this allegation was from August of 2023. And here we are in March of 2026. And there hasn't been any new allegation. And I just don't understand the length of time. And Mr. Powell, completely understand your position. There's some other things, obviously, too, that I'm taking into consideration. But Ms. Leonard, if I give you an opportunity today, I don't know how many jobs you've got to get, but you're going to pay some restitution or you're going to go to prison.
Yes, ma'am.
Period. That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't anticipate probably that you can pay it all in all of these cases, but you're going to pay some restitution.
Yes.
You're going to be on probation for a very long time to be able to do that, because I can extend your probations for a very long time. And so if you really have changed your life and want to be there for your daughter, you're going to be given that opportunity, but you're going to do different, or else you will be back in here and I'm not going to hear any, I have a baby and tears and all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Not going to listen to it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I'm going to do in cause number 19-33340, I'm going to find sufficient evidence to revoke your revoke your probation, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue your probation. I'm going to extend that probation for 5 years. And then I will go through some specific requirements on all of the cases in a minute. And then in cause number 20-36095, also find sufficient evidence to revoke your probation, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue you on probation, going to extend that probation for 5 years. Order, obviously, that you follow all of the rules and conditions of probation, including completing your community service and paying more towards restitution. I'm going to find in cause number 25 DCCR 0297 sufficient evidence to find you guilty. And at this time, I'm going to find you guilty, sentence you to 2 years into the state jail prison, but probate that for 5 years. So I could only probate it for 5 years at the beginning. So you're on probation for 5 years. There won't be a fine in that case. There will be restitution owed in the amount of $4,000. I would like for all of Ms. Leonard's payments to go towards restitution.
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, it can be divided amongst them, however you guys feel appropriate. But at this point, we need that money going back to the victims.
Yes.
And so let's do it that way. And then, Ms. Leonard, you're going to remain on the high medium caseload. And also you're going to be under zero tolerance,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? So there's no more whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you miss an appointment. Obviously, if you commit a new offense, test positive, you don't pay restitution, if whatever it is, doesn't matter to me. One thing means you're back in here and you're looking at those 3 2-year sentences. And they can be stacked because this one was convicted after those other 2. So I think we probably can only stack 2, and which means you could end up with a 4-year sentence instead of a 2-year sentence. And I can assure you that Mr. Coleman will remind me of today. He will remind me of Mr. Powell. I typically don't forget things like this. I don't remember a lot, but when we've gone through this as much as we have, it's never a good thing when I remember you or your name, and I do now. So you don't want to be back here in front of me because you now have 2-year sentences. There's no negotiation on whether or not you get less than that. If you violate, it's 2 years in the state jail on every single case because that's your sentence. And then the only determination that would be made at that time is if I stack it or not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you have any questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition or about how long that lasts, you can talk with Mr. Rojas.
Yes.
Probation, you need to stop and talk to